Dateline Bangkok.
JIm Algie from Western Canada originally, but I came to Thailand was all a long, circuitous, serpentine accident, really, after playing and touring in punk rock bands for about 11 years, as you do, which is great training for living in Bangkok and becoming a writer. Yeah, I got tired of living the rock and roll high life 24/7 for months on end, and tired of the career possibilities, and I wound up 28 years old realizing, wow, didn't Jimi Hendrix and Morrison just die at this age? So yeah, I quit the music business and lived in Spain for a couple of years just to try to start my writing career, because I'd already been written quite a few short stories, poems and that, but I didn't really get into journalism until here, working in different newspapers like the Thailand Times, The Nation, and then finally starting our own magazine, Farang, which is more of a gonzo Hunter S. Thompson take on travel writing, which is where a lot of the stories in Bizarre Thailand originally came from. So I'd been investigating a lot of the stuff, like an interview with the executioner of Bangkok prison, some of the jail stories, some of the stories about the forensic museum and Thailand's most infamous serial killer, then a lot of stories like the monkey hospital, just the quirky wildlife stories and pieces like that. So I started in that magazine and then just developed over the last 10 or 12 years. I'd followed a lot of them not long. Susan Aldous, the Angel of Bangkok Prison, Empower, which is a famous NGO that fights for the rights of sex workers and is based on Pat Pong, organizes IT English classes for them, and does a lot of provocative, almost scandalous demonstrations at NGO conferences and that, where they'll set up an actual go-go bar at an AIDS conference, but to give lessons about proper condom usage, serious subjects like that. And they've opened their own bar now in Chiang Mai called the Can Do Bar, which is probably the only bar in the world run for and by sex workers, but where they can test out a lot of their ideas, that they want sex workers to have the same rights and labor laws that anybody working in the entertainment business does. So there's always something important about any of the work that they do. So all the women who work there, of course, have proper health benefits, days off, social security, and that. So yeah, that's one of the stories I've been following for a long time.
So in all these years of collecting all of this information, these articles, did you ever think it would become a book in its own right?
Well, that's what I was secretly hoping for all the time, yeah. But it was just actually trying to get comprehensive versions of them, because I think Thailand, like any place, it throws a lot of illusions at you. It's a bit of a funhouse mirror. And when you're here for maybe 6 months or a year or two, you're still struggling with the basics of the language and the culture, that any of your views of it are bound to be very superficial, and you're constantly revising your opinions about what these things mean or their significance, or learning more about Buddhism, which plays a big role, and even the executioner of Bangkok prison is a die-hard, staunch Buddhist and donates the money from executions to one of the temples out there. So you try and get your head around all these sort of contradictions about Thai society, and its more darker and brighter sides, and that takes years and years to actually do. So a lot of these stories, I mean, didn't really come to fruition, I don't think, until maybe after about 10 years or so, which is a long time to be working on a couple of pieces. Well, my publisher is in Singapore, Marshall Cavendish, so they wanted to have some kind of event, and we didn't want to do a dry, boring, dull reading, which is what you're forced to do, and especially in a noisy, rambunctious bar, knowing the kind of people I know and the journalist community here are not going to be quiet anyways or just heckle you. So hopefully I'll put together a slideshow. A lot of the things from Bangkok prison, the executioner playing his guitar in the jail, some of the different ladyboy shots, some of the photos from Empower, Dr. Pontip, the famous forensic crime fighter, Sumet Jumsai, the famous architect, designed the robot building and different structures like that. So hopefully I'm just going to talk a bit around some of the photos and basically let the visuals carry the weight and try and get the hell off before people get too drunk to heckle me.